They are the final lap of the business MuMu anniversary. Elevate. If you are not here as SME, you are not doing well anywhere you are, because this is where we have put together for you to be able to fly. When it is crawling, you can fall as many times as possible, and there's nothing bad about that. When it is walking, when you fall too many times, we are cautious of, you know, you having injuries and all of it like that. It becomes a thing of concern, unlike when you fall, when you are crawling, when you are starting to learn how to walk. And when you start running, it becomes when you are just walking. And it becomes really, really terrible when you are flying and then you fall. When you are flying and you fall, it becomes very catastrophic. The chances of you actually, having your life intact is slim, and that's why the higher the speed, the more caution we are to take. If you are going to fly, then you need to be very, very informed. You need to be very, very knowledgeable. You need to be so prepared, because when you get into the air, no second chance. And before you get into the air, you need some things. And those things are the things we are equipping you with at the Elevate. Don't mind those people who are still crawling and they are falling. People who are still walking and they are falling. Don't mind those people who are still running and they are falling. But for you, if you want to fly, you need the mindset of a champion, the one who will not play with falling down. You don't fall for fun when you're in the air. You fly like an eagle. You soar high. And that's what we are here for. For as many as possible SMEs are going to be joining us this season, you are going to fly, of course. This is just, like an entry point for many SME that will make sense. In the next 5 years, seriously, we want to be proud of, having unicorn coming out of this whole thing in the next 5 years. Say, hey, yeah, I was part of business MuMu, and here I am today doing well. That's the plan. That's the target. And it's a pleasure to have the whole world join us for this. I already have here in the studio with me my amiable friend Aderonke Salami. She's ready to, take us through that critical part again, very sensitive part, because I've come to realize that the most sustainable technology, in the history of human being is human. No matter the advancement, no matter the technology invasion that you allow to come, when you remove human from it, you lose the real touch, the real meaning of technology. So she's coming from that perspective today to give us that depth that we need to be able to understand that yes, the most sustainable technology that can interrupt and innovate human is human. Thank you so much, Adoronke. It would be a pleasure to have you today. We are ready to elevate, and here we are, flying. You're welcome. I can read your lips, yet I can't hear your voice. We must elevate. I think we need a very strong space of uh, network connectivity, providing internet service. Seriously, seriously. Um, okay, let's use the second option I did earlier. Maybe you can just try out with your phone then. I think that was giving us the audio. Okay. So allow me to hold the grant for you while you join us. Thank you. So this is Elevate. and I'm excited to be here. You're watching us right now on LinkedIn and also on YouTube. We couldn't, you know, get feedback from Facebook viewers, so there was no need, engaging too much on that platform when people are not giving feedback. So it's an interesting thing here today. SME, seriously, like it sounded like a joke to some people. It's not a joke, really. It's just the truth that because SME does not mean you should smell. So it's very important today that we take more cognizance of these guys that are in the SME space. Okay, I think she's back now. Let me allow her take the
Hi,
wheel.
can you hear me?
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so
Well,
much.
thank you so much. I thought that the laptop would be a better you know, tool to use actually, but well, we'll just use the phone and go right ahead.
You're welcome. So allow me stay here in the corner while you take us ahead, please. Oh,
Right. Okay. So, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Olatunji, for having me. I'm super excited to be here. Um, the first thing I just want to say is congratulations to Olatunji for this awesome anniversary because it's not always easy to take something as powerful as this from one step to the other. So I just want to say a big congratulations to Olatunji for the 1 year anniversary of Business MuMu. Today, I'm going to be taking a different route, like he said, in terms of flying as or elevating as an SME in the world that we are today. And what I'm going to be talking to you about today is employee and employer branding that makes your business grow. I'm sure a lot of us have, definitely heard about employee branding. Even if we've not heard about it, we've come across it in one way or the other. But I would like to share something with you just before I go in depth into what I have for you today. The first thing we want to always look at is um, when it comes to businesses or businesses succeeding in the world of business itself. Allow me to use that English. There are three P's that you need to know, and it is what it's the formula you need to be successful as a brand. The first one is actually the product, and I'm sure a lot of the speakers who have come would have talked so much about your product as a whole. Now, if your product isn't solving a problem, if your product um, isn't giving value, then this is something that needs to be checked. Um, I would like to say that I've seen that a lot of people, when I have to interact with a lot of SMEs, they have a they have a very idealistic approach to their businesses, which is actually good to an extent. But at the end of the day, you want to be very realistic about what you have. And being realistic is, what kind of product are you bringing into the market? What is this product doing? Is it solving a problem? What is it doing? How is it affecting the customers? Is the customer going to be able to use this? Those are things that you want to put into consideration. The next thing you want to also um, put into consideration, for a successful business is your process. What kind of processes you have? Uh, um, it's okay to have the product, yes, but what have you put in place to make sure that from the beginning stage to the end stage of your product, it goes through a process that is seamless, that makes it easy to use or easy to understand. And the last part is people. Um, which is the angle that I am coming from today. You can have your product, you can have your processes, but if you don't have the right people, then there's a lot of problem going to happen. It would just seem like you are there, or you are not. Yeah, you're not there yet. If you look at your business and you're seeing that, okay, you know for a fact that you have the right product, you have the right process, and you still have an issue with moving forward, with elevating forward, with flying high, you should look at your people. Who are the people in your organization? What is your organizational structure at this point in time? Who are the people managing the affairs of your businesses? What kind of culture do you have? Those are the 3 P's that you need to be successful in the business. So today, what I'm going to be talking to you about is employer and employee branding that makes your business grow. So I'm sure you'll be asking me, what do I mean by employee or employer branding? Now, employee and employer branding are they are kind of intertwined, but they're very different. They achieve the same thing, but they are different as a whole. Now, employer branding is how employees actually see the organization in terms of their vision, their culture, their mission, also in terms of the location, the compensation, the overall compensation. It's not just about, oh, what salary are we getting at the end of the day. It is the overall, compensation. Then you're also looking at career development and stability. You're looking at management lifestyle or management style, and then you're looking at work-life balance. Those are the key things. There are other things that actually you would need to look into, especially if you do a lot of research when it comes to employer and employee branding. But the truth of the matter is, these key things that I just mentioned are very critical to how an employee brand, is perceived. Now, an employee brand or branding is what the employees in an organization sees internally, right? As an employee in an organization, whatever it is that you've received as a whole in that organization is what you are going to portray out. So I'm sure you've heard a lot of people when you're talking to a lot of people, especially those who are employees, when you ask them, oh, if you ask them the question, oh, how is your work environment, or do you like your job? You get a lot of them pause a bit, not knowing whether to actually come out and say, that place I'm working, it is die. Please allow me to use that English. But the truth of the matter is, when you're hearing things like that, it just means that the experience that they've gotten in the organization hasn't been very, very good. Now, it doesn't mean, because you would agree with me that everybody has a perception of how they expect to be treated, but that doesn't mean that they are not treated rightly. But when you ask those kind of questions, you see things like that. Now, I want to go a bit further by saying, to give us like a more a more broad perspective into what I mean by employee and employer branding. Now, international companies like, let me give the example of Google, Facebook, or Coca-Cola, for instance. When I speak to a lot of job seekers, when I speak to them and I ask them, oh, what kind of organization would you like to work in? Those 3 companies are usually the first set of companies that they always tell me that they're interested in. And for a while, I started to question, okay, why is it that everybody just wants to work in Shell? Why is it that everybody just wants to work in Mobile or NMPC or some big named organization? The simple answer to that question is the kind of culture that they have in that organization. Now, recently, one of the things that I have also noticed as well is that whenever a new staff or a new employee gets a job in a place like maybe Coca-Cola or Google or Facebook, you tend to see them talk about it on social media. That's like the first thing you see them talk about. To make matters even more, to shed more light into that, you tend to see that they get packages, right? You see them have their employee tags. You see them have power banks. You see them have comps. You see them have, there's just this extra thing that they get from just being an employee in that organization, and they are so quick to want to share it to the whole world, that, oh, everybody, I work with Google, I work with Facebook, I work with Shell, and that is exactly what employee branding is all about, right? Like I said before, it is okay to have your product, it is okay to have your processes, but when it comes to your people, you also have to put the effort in to make your businesses grow. Now, let me put a disclaimer here. I kind of understand, maybe because I've been on the two ends, or on the two spectrums of the employment. I mean, to the workplace industry, meaning, I've been an employee, and I've also, I'm currently an employer as well, and I can understand that not all business, and this is what I tell a lot of young people who reach out to me, especially job seekers, you know, those who are trying to transition into another role, or things like that. I tell them that no two businesses are the same thing. So if you expect that what Facebook or what company A is going to pay for a certain role is going to be the same thing as what a startup business is going to pay, then you're very wrong, right? It is okay to you attain. Um, Here's me speaking to a lot of job seekers, because I know that there's a mix of this demography here today, even though we're focused on the SMEs, right? But I just want to put that disclaimer out that, no two businesses are the same. Excuse me. So no two businesses are the same. So you don't expect that, how you're going to be treated in a big international company is going to be the same as how you're going to be treated in in a startup. But what is that thing that makes every one of them, actually the same? It's in the way, they treat their employees. What kind of culture is being um, uh, um, is being emulated in that organization? Now we're focusing on small businesses today, and I just want to say that I understand that it's not always easy to, especially for small businesses, their focus really is, how do I make money? That is the focus of a lot of small businesses. I have started this thing. I have spent money, trying to set up. I have done this. I have done this. How do I make money? That is the focus of a lot of small businesses. And while that is very valid and very concrete, right, it is not enough. It is not enough to become successful if your focus as a small business is just about the money. The truth of the matter is, if you have your employer or employee branding done properly, trust me, the money that you are looking for will begin to trickle into the company, um, you know in such a way that you'll be surprised. And this is something that I have practiced and has helped me a lot. Now, this takes me to you know talking about employee branding and employer branding as a whole. So when you're talking about employer branding, you're trying to look at what is the value proposition um, you as an employer have. The first thing you want to think about is that you're coming from the angle of external factors. How do people see you? That is what employer branding is all about. Before anybody will decide to work in your organization, they want to know, what are the things that makes you different? What are the things that makes you unique? How do people perceive you, right? How do people see you? What kind of message are you sending out? And this takes me to, um, why do you even need, as a company, why do you actually need employee branding at all? The truth of the matter is, you actually need employee branding, whether or not you want to agree with me or not, right? You totally need it, because in as much as you have your sales and marketing team that helps you to um, um, talk about your business and how functional and how effective your business is, and but there's an aspect of your business that needs employee branding in the terms that in the term that people will only trust people. Now, if you've had an experience with an organization, right, it is only, it's just normal that by the time somebody talks about you, the next thing is that they want to see who you are. And that is why you need employee branding or employer branding as a whole. You need it in terms of perception. How do the people out there see your brand? What kind of perception are you giving to them? Secondly, you want to also talk about you also want to allow people to understand the message of your business. The message of your business is as important as the money that you are trying to get in. If anybody remembers Unicorn HR, they know Unicorn HR for this. Do you understand? That is one of the reasons why you need employee branding. Another, I mean, the last reason as to why you actually need employee branding is that you need it for feedback, right? We know we talk about customer service, we talk about, I know a lot of people feel like their business, once you have customer service, that's the end. No, that's just the beginning. Really, that's just the beginning of what you even need. Because every single person, and I like to share this a lot, every single person from the gate man to the CEO, even the board of directors, if you have any, is responsible for customer satisfaction. Do you understand? So feedback is very necessary when it comes to your employee branding, and that's why you need it. What are people saying about us? What kind of feedback is it? Is it negative? Is it positive? If it's negative, how do we tackle this immediately? And that is where your customer service, as a team comes into play. But before then, you need to be able to get that feedback from people and say, okay, what are they saying about Unicorn HR? Is anybody saying anything good? Is anybody saying anything bad? And the only way that can happen is through, the people that you have on ground. Once you've treated the people that you have indoor, what comes out externally is is good as sweet. Like I said before, what makes people want to jump and say, "Oh, I want to work with Facebook. I want to work." It's not because of anything fantastic. It is just because of the culture that they have imbibed, right? I remember reading somewhere where this is not a please do not quote me because this is not a very factual statement, but this is something that I read and I've interpreted in my mind. I remember Facebook, saying that, even though they have to go on lockdown, if they have to go on lockdown anytime soon again, they are willing to pay, their staff salary for a particular period of time. Or I think there was another one that said something about women who are pregnant, if they can go as far as one. There are different things that have made organizations like these international institutions become very favorable to people. So when people even think about, okay, oh, I need to do something, they're remembering, they won't remember anybody else but those who have been stuck into their minds. And how are they stuck into their minds? By what people have said about them, by what people have talked about, by what, especially when, I said before that people trust people, right? And this is something that has been, consistent. I remember early this year alone, the first 2 weeks of this year alone, I I received, if I'm not exaggerating, I received over 20 referrals from just, somebody who had used my product and, heard, oh, excuse me, please, I heard about you. I was told that you can do this and do this and do this. Another person, oh, I heard, you were referred to by so, 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 and so, so, and so. It is because, yes, you've given your product. Yes, you've had processes. But then again, it goes beyond just all of this to the kinds of people that you have in your brand, right? Now, this takes me to another point where how does employer branding grow your business? And I'm sure this is where everybody is very interested in. Employer branding is primarily tied to the experiences that workers have in the organization and what they say about, your company. right? The truth is this: whatever experiences you give to your people is how they will portray you. Now, another company, please permit me to actually say this. Um, a company that I have noticed really that this has really worked for is Utivia. The first time I never heard of Utivia before, right? I've never heard of the brand until someone in that organization talked about his experience being in that organization. And just him talking about that experience alone, caught my attention. I'm like, okay, who are these guys? For this guy to come out and say something about a Nigerian brand like this, it means that there's something that he's enjoying in that place. Do you understand? So even when people decide to leave that organization, they leave with so much, because I've been watching it so far so good, because my connection, I have a lot of them in my connection, and I get to see a lot of the things that they've been accomplishing and they've been doing. And it's so fantastic because it just gives you that. So if I'm going to recommend, whenever anybody asks me about, um, you know, I want to learn data science, I want to learn HR analytics, my first thought will be to talk about Utivia before I talk about any other person, because of the way their employee brand has been utilized. So as a small business, you do not want to just, go with the flow. They just say, I open business, I'm a CEO, I'm just there, continue. No, 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 no. You want to be very, very strategic. And being strategic is in your processes and your people. Now, your processes in terms of HR processes, operational processes, and, every other processes that is there needs to be working pari passu. But the people that will actually take, those processes to the next level, where income starts to come in for your business, is as important as anything. So, how does employee branding grow your business? The first thing it does for you, it is your reputation. It helps with your reputation. Your reputation is as important as anything. Let me give you this story. I remember a family friend of mine. I'm not going to mention names because I want to protect. Although, even though I have mentioned names before, that was just, for specific. That was just for specifics, right? But this time around, I'm not going to mention names. So, a family friend of mine had reached out to me and said, "Oh, I have a young child that I need to take into school within the area I was living in, and that can you recommend schools within that area, because there were a lot of there are a lot of schools in the area that I'm living in." And I said, okay, that let me just do a few research and then I'll come back to you. I already had a specific school in mind, but I wanted to give the person a few options. And so I just told that I just said, give me feedback, give me a few minutes, I'll get back to you. And so I went to check that specific school that I had in mind. And you don't even want to know the horrible reputation this particular school had online. I was literally scared for that school. Like, how are they getting students into that school? If I have to check, like, the first thing that comes up online is a bad reputation. So it is important that when you're looking at how your business can grow, and you're going to use employer branding, your reputation is very important. You don't want to miss out on that part, because once you have one bad reputation, that is the end. I was not confident enough to actually recommend that school anymore, right? Because I didn't want a situation whereby I will hear, I don't care, you're the one that told us to go to that school, see what is happening there. So I had to take a step back. Can you see what that does to your employer brand? It has that kind of thing has totally messed up, that person's brand as a whole. Now, um, another thing that would help your business grow by using employee branding or employer branding is that return on investment, meaning your profit margin. The truth of the matter is, I totally understand that, businesses, are focused on that. And if you use your employer branding right, trust me, you see that return on investment, you will get it. It will come in such a way that you might not even be able to maximize, or you will tend to, start to think about ways to expand once it is done right. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, when it comes to how your business can grow using employer brand, is that 20, and this is a fact that I saw when I was doing my research, talking, in terms of this topic, is that what it does for you as a brand is that it reduces um, employee turnover rates by 28%. And that's a good mark, because I'm sure you are all aware that we are in the great resignation. At least that's what they are calling it now. Everybody is just, today I'm in Sokoto, next tomorrow I'm in Japan, upper next tomorrow I'm in somewhere or the other, right? But once your employer branding is done properly, trust me, trust me, you would have a situation where your your employees are reduced, them leaving your company is reduced to a barest minimum. Now, let me say this. Let me give another example, like, because for me, experiences are, what helps us. Um, Experiences are what helps us and shapes how we do things. I recently came across a young guy who who um, started working for a multi. I wouldn't say a multinational, but they're getting into that step. They're into oil exploration now because of the COVID-19. Um, the company they didn't shut down, but they couldn't continue. Now this young guy, I don't know. I'm not encouraging anybody to do this. Please don't quote me, because people can quote you for the most wonderful things. But the truth of the matter is, I'm just trying. I'm getting somewhere, and I'm saying I'm sharing this based on the fact that when you do your employer branding right, trust me, you're going to reap it in such a way you'll be amazed by it. Now, this young guy, allow me call him Solomon. So Solomon was working with these guys, and he now got to a stage they just couldn't continue. Exploration stopped because of COVID-19. So the entire 2020 and 2021, they were on what you call like a semi kind of lockdown. But this guy was still with them. He didn't leave. And so when now 2022 came and they were able to get a bit of more funding, and they're back into work. And I just had to ask him that, what made you stay? Like, I know that they had maybe over 10 employees, just two of them remained. And he was like, the experience that he had in the organization just made him say that even though these guys don't have the money to pay me, I can still be doing things on the side that gives me money, but will still enable me stay with these guys till they are ready to come back, until they tell me, oh, I'm sorry, we can't continue again. And that just cuts me in such a way that I can't imagine, or I can try to imagine, the kind of experience that he had gained. One of the things that he had done was they trained him through his ACCA. Now he's doing his ICANN, right? And this is a guy that started as an office clerk. Now he's an accountant for the company, right? So you can see there that they gave him a different experience. So as a small business, I'm not saying that you might have the money or the resources to actually take your um, um, what we call your business, I mean your employees to the next level. But you can have different things that come into place that would help your businesses to actually grow, right? Now, before I go into what steps can you take in developing a great employee brand strategy, because it would be unfair to come here and tell you that your business can grow through employee or employer branding, and I do not actually share how you can do it. I believe that would defeat the purpose. But I want to be able to come back and talk to you about, you know, what you should be doing as I mean, what your focus should be as an employer, or in creating an employee or an employer brand. The first thing, like I mentioned this before, but I just want to go into a bit more detail. Your company values and your culture. What kind of culture do you have? Right? What kind of culture do you have in that organization in terms of, in terms of your 9 to 5? Is it 9 to 5? Some organizations will tell you 9 to 5, but you are literally doing 8 to maybe 8, or maybe 8 to 10. Those kind of the kind of experiences I've had. So, I begin to share it. We'll not live here today. Something I've had someone tell me, and I was kind of shocked because to be honest, I did not even know how to approach the problem for that person. I've had someone tell me that, oh, they refused to allow us to leave the organization because there was some religious thing that was going on around that period of time. Where is the inclusion and the diversity that comes with being an employee, right? Why do you have to force, if some of these things are not in your policies and procedures, why do you just up and create something that will make it difficult for your employees to appreciate working in your organization? I know that sometimes that employees can be excessive, especially with, please apologies, especially with these Gen Zs that we have, right? But the truth of the matter is, if you actually understand them, they are one of the sweetest people to actually work with. They actually are, because I have had experiences with them. How do you treat them? Yes, you are under pressure to, get money. You're under pressure to take your business to the next level. But if you don't do the right things, these things will come back to which haunt you. It's as simple as ABC. There's no two ways about it, no matter how you want to look at it. Now, your location, because some people will just think that they can just have their businesses at any place at any time. If your location is something that might be of hindrance, have you considered doing a hybrid situation? Have you decided, because these days we've seen with COVID, we've seen that, remote work, has been beneficial to a lot of people. A lot of businesses are saying that their employees are more effective, being, working remotely, because you can monitor. You can literally, we have tools that actually monitor every process and every progress that you have, um, in the organization. So it's even worse for them as employees, because you're on their case on a daily, because they have KPIs that they have to meet, they have things that they have to do. It, it's just, if you get my point, it's just, the good things are things that you need to consider. Now, overall compensation, please. I know, like I said, I'm an employer as well, and I truly understand, especially with the way things are going in. If you are in a country like ours, which is Nigeria, you can understand that things are really difficult for business owners right now. But at the end of the day, there are perks. Even if you can't offer a lot of things, there are perks that you can give your employees that will make them, excuse me, that will make them think think twice about wanting to leave you, right? Now, another thing we want to focus on is career development. Nobody wants to stay in an organization that is not going to help them grow. I know we preach that employees should have personal development done for themselves, but as an organization, you need to also be very supportive of your um, employees as well. You don't want to just leave them hanging, right? I know, like I said, I seem to be flogging this boat about knowing the fact that it's not easy, but there are ways to which you can do these things. Now, what kind of management lifestyle? Let me use, I like to use the word lifestyle because because we get, we get a lot of people say, oh, I don't like the management. I don't understand what the management is doing. The truth is, it's not about the management as a whole. It's about the personal, the person in charge of the management, the person who is the manager. What kind of lifestyle do you have? How do you, are you the leader kind of person? or you're the kind of person that you want to at least I want to see what you are doing right now. As an employer, I believe that it's very important to trust, because I know for you to have accepted that person into your organization to say, I want you to take my business forward in terms of this, um, uh, in terms of this job role, it means that you're giving that person that trust, to actually say, okay, do this work for me. Let's see how it goes. Now, with hunting, your employees, it doesn't work well, because at the end of the day, it backfires. So what is your management style? What is your leadership style? How are you able to manage the people that are under you? How do they perceive you as a manager? Those are questions that you want to ask yourself when you are trying to elevate your business to the next level. Now, the last part of it is work-life balance. Everything is not work, please. It is important that you know you see you have that stability for your organization. Yes, you need them to take your business to the next level. But sometimes, please allow me to use the word play. Play sometimes, get to know them. I'm not saying go and know them, to their family house. It just depends on the style that you have. But get to know them as a person. That enables you, understand what kind of things you can inculcate into your business in terms of work-life balance. Um, One of the best persons that I've heard talk about it so much is Inkem Ofenabo. If you don't know about her, please just connect to her. She is perfect, in terms of work-life balance. She will tell you how to manage your employees in such a way that um, you know they're able to give you the 110% that you require. Now, this takes me to, because I know my time is fast spent and I don't want to exceed my time too much, but I just want to talk about the actual steps that you can take in developing a great employee or employer branding strategy. The first thing you want to do is do an audit of your employee brand your employer brand. That means, where are we as an organization? What have been the feedback that we've been getting about the organization, right? How does my employees, or how are they perceiving my organization? You need to ask them questions. If it's that you need to do a survey or send an internal memo, or asking them questions, or you ask a performance evaluation professional such as myself come to do it in your organization, so that you can have that what's the word I'm looking for now? You can have that uh, okay, so the word just left my mind. It was just right there. But
Like an overview.
basically,
Uh,
thank you. Bless your heart. Like an
yeah,
overview of you know what your company is all about. Coming from the outside, we're able to see, those of you that are on the inside, and tell you how what are the issues that you're having currently, and how we can help you to bring in solutions that will help in conquering all those issues that you have as an organization. Then the next thing is that you want to review your recruitment and selection process. This is one of the most important parts of your employer or employee brand. How you recruit your people from the beginning will determine how they take your business at the long run. What are the steps that you've taken in your did you make it difficult? Was it a long process? Was it short? How did you make it? How did the interview processes go? After the interview processes, how was the onboarding processes? Those are things that you want to look at. Now, the next thing you also want to do is you want to define your employer value proposition, which is something I just talked about recently in terms of your vision, your culture, your mission, your location, your compensation, your job perks, your management style, the work-life balance that you're having. You want to define them specifically, because that will enable that's like the what we call the cocoa. That's the main thing that will help you with your employee with making sure that your employer or employee branding is a success or is not a success. Now, once that is done, you want to set clear goals in terms of awareness, in terms of experience, in terms of attraction. Awareness in a way such that how are people seeing your businesses? What is the clear message that you are selling to the people? At this point, your HR and your marketing and sales team have to work hand in hand to make sure that you know there's that phase of awareness about your brand. Now, in terms of experience as well, when you're setting your goals in terms of experience, it's just a reflection of your employer value proposition, right? What experience have um, your employees received, right? That's what is going to help you in setting your goals and for this. And then attraction in terms of how your your employees are speaking about you, how your employees are speaking about you. That's how you attract, you know, people to your brand. Now, the next step is that you want to determine the right channel to promote your employer brand. You don't want to just leave it hanging. Do you want to, in terms of social media, how do you want to focus your your employee brand? Is it is it through LinkedIn? Is it through Facebook? Is it through Instagram? Or is it the three that you want to do at the same time? You just want to know what works for you as a business. Now, the next part of it is that you want to foster employee ambassadors, right? So when it comes to employer or employee branding, you can't force anybody, even your employees. You can't force them to buy into the idea of employee branding. But you can select a few people who you believe can take the business forward. Maybe, you know, maybe sorry, excuse me, sir. Because I'm using my phone, there's a call that came in. Excuse me
Yeah.
for that. So maybe one of the things you're trying to do is that you oh God, apologies for this.
Wow, it's been an amazing time, really, with Auntie. She has been awesome, really, really awesome, dropping some very deep secrets that we need to be able to brand our employee properly. You see, some people, when they get that new job, they will snap the screenshot of their laptop, the tag, they put it everywhere. You feel like they even want to wear a jersey, for the new company. Not that the new company is better than the one they are coming from, but this one was able to, in the first place, even attract them, steal them away from the other company because they branded themselves better. So it's a lot, and yeah, like I said, the best technology is human every time. It's not that robot, it's not that programming language, it's not whatever you think it is. When you don't have human, you lose out on so many things when it comes to building a great brand. Thank you so much. Let me bring her back. I think she's back now backstage. Thank you so much. It's always good to have you. Okay.
Hi, apologies for that. A call came in and that's why I wanted to use my laptop. A call actually came in. Okay, so like I was saying, um, the truth of the matter is this: you can't force anybody to actually use or do this employer branding. Sometimes these things come naturally to them, especially if they've experienced, that that part or that part of the business that makes them, feel good about themselves and feel good about working in your organization. But that doesn't mean you cannot foster it. And when I say foster, what that just simply means is that you can actually get some of your employees to actually, promote your brand. Let them talk about it. From your work-life balance, you can inculcate, them talking about it. Now, let me say this: if you, as a business owner, does not talk about your business, does not blow the trumpet of your business as it is, trust me, your employees are not going to do the same thing. So don't
Okay.
deceive yourself and think that you are going to make your employees do, because I know some people, they will go and turn it to, it's part of our HR policy that you must do employer branding. You don't want to do that, please. You as an SME, you also have to be able to do that. So you are going to also set goals for yourself. How are you talking about your business? It is the way you talk about your business that your employees will also emulate, how, you know, and even do it better. They would definitely want to blow your trumpet more because of the experience that they are getting. And so you want to have ambassadors. So it doesn't necessarily have to be everybody in the organization doing this, but a few people that you've seen that, they can take your business forward in terms of your content people, in terms of your marketing team, in terms even of your HR, or even maybe your admins, and different things. I've seen situations whereby, the operations manager of a company is the one talking about the business and how the business is functional and, best to use for an organization. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it is very, very important that, you have the right set of people, um, with you. Now, after you've done all of these things, doing an audit, reviewing your recruitment, setting the goals, determining the right channels that you want to use, fostering, employee ambassadors. You don't just want to leave it like that. You always want to monitor how things are going, because sometimes you have to be careful, because I know there's some organizations that totally do not want anything to do with employee branding at all, because they believe that it will send out the wrong message to people. But I'm saying that it can be, if it is done right, it can be very useful to your organization. So you want to monitor everything that is going on, so that in case if there's some bad experience, phew, you are able to walk through it. Let me give this example before, I hand over the mic to Olatunji. I remember, reading on Twitter. I know a lot of us know who Gary V is, and Gary V is such an amazing person. If you've heard him, you've heard him. If you know him, you know him as, that person that uses curse words to actually communicate a lot. And so he I think he wrote a book at this point in time, and a customer was very displeased about his um his
Right.
book, and came to Twitter to lambast him. If you see oh my God, that love letter was wonderful. That's what I can only call it. He messed him up. And anybody who, would have read that would, you just, the first thought to be like, so what's the point of using Gary V's, um, um, you know, brand, or reading his books? And because of that, he came on Twitter and he said, he told the guy and said, I appreciate, your feedback, and I take it back. Even though you feel this way, I am willing to, I am willing to give you back your money and also do extra just to make you feel comfortable. I can tell you for a fact that this guy, his entire family, came back to Twitter to thank Gary Vee for going the extra mile. And that's what employer branding does. That's what employee branding does. How do you want to be perceived in the society? It's not enough to have your product. It's not enough to have your processes. You need the right people in your corner to be able to take your business to that level, to be able to elevate it to that level to which you want it to get to. There's nothing wrong with an SME becoming an international organization. There's nothing wrong with an SME reaching the heights and the attainments of other businesses that have gone years ahead. What makes it different is that, what are the things that you have put in place to make it work? So this brings me to the end of my presentation today. It was such a good time sharing with you all. Thank you so much, Olatunji, for having me here. And I'm hoping that, we get a lot of businesses that use these tips and tricks, like we say, to help their businesses um, elevate to the next level. Thank you so much.
Wow, wow, wow. Interesting moment. Really, we have had today. Thank you so much for this best time. I think I feel like we should have it, extended, but I want us to manage the time of our people. And yes, we already have a group that I would like us to engage with. Just join Business MuMu group on LinkedIn, and then you are able to engage us. It's going to be a very large community of possibility for SMEs. Yeah, the unicorn of today was just a con yesterday. That
Mm,
SME that nobody actually paid attention to. Whether it was like that in your face or like that in the mind of the owner, it came out very little. But because of the right things in place, it became very big. I started up telling us that if crawling is, as important as running, nobody would even bother when you fall. But when it comes to flying, you can't fall for fun. If you really want to elevate, if you really want to fly, you need all of these things. They are very important. You see, imagine Gary Vee did not have that kind of tenacity to be able to
mm,
entertain. It's enough for his brand to be pulled down. Here in Africa, here in Nigeria, there have been a lot of castigation against this brand. Let me mention them now, Coca-Cola. And they have weathered this storm as if nothing happened. And just here, this brand is just coming back to the market. I need to also mention their name, La Casera. The same thing that was, instigated against them, they had done that severally to Coca-Cola. And just once it was done to them, they could not survive it. I remember I used them as a case study that year. Uh, they had to come out with Smooth to be able to gather some boots for the Christmas season. Then there was an issue with them that okay, their drink is very acidic and all of it like that. I'm putting this out, because of the kind of audience we have. I want you to understand that it's not just about about your product now. It's not just about the strength of your product. It's also about how you are able to manage your people. Very, very important. So they had to come up with Smooth that year to be able to gather the spoil of this festive season. And Coca-Cola has been hearing a lot of stuff like that, and yet because of the way they are able to brand their company through their employee. You know, they have entered so well into the heart of people, and it has made a lot of sense for them. So much sense for them. So it's really so much, so much. I want to appreciate uh, the unicorn herself for giving us her time and giving us so much value. Today it's a great pleasure. Anytime I see her around, I feel confident that yes, everything is in right shape and on the right course. Yeah, I want to appreciate everybody who has joined us. I noticed that we had discrepancies with the timing for the live this thing on LinkedIn. So we didn't pick it up as we're supposed to, but here we have YouTube doing it for us, and I've been trying to manage the face, right on YouTube to be able to on LinkedIn to be able to get people uh, into the YouTube. Definitely, at the end of the whole thing, we'll do some cleanup and then you enjoy yourself. Before the unicorn goes this morning, uh, before she goes with her beautiful smile, I don't know if she has something to to share with us while we, bring in the next speaker today. Like I said, there will be no room for questions. We intentionally don't want you to ask your questions now because we have found out that questions asked in this kind of manner most of the time, sometimes people just want to catch, fun, just want to sound brilliant, just want to sound like, yeah, the asking the big questions. So if you really have those questions, and because we are really intentional, you'll notice that that's something with business Momo. We don't come here to show off. We are very intentional. We give you the real thing, the things that make things to work behind the scene, and not the cosmetic and graphics that distract people from doing the real job. So it's a lot of work, and then we know that you are coming if only you are interested in your SME flying, and we are here for you because, like I said, in the next 5 years, we want to hear that yeah, I was part of those SMEs that got inspired by business Mumu, and then yeah, here we are today because it's going to be a very big plus. I think in the whole of Africa, we have less than 10 unicorns. It's painful. There are about 50 or thereabout in Asia, India, and China alone. So it's a lot. You may not be able to hold them at yet economic and buoyancy. However, you know what means when you have a unicorn, and it's not when you are already in the air that you start learning how to fly the plane. You learn it right on the ground, and that's why we are here. So let's do some great job together. So before she goes, yeah, let her just give us some beautiful, parting words, and we enjoy the rest of today together.
Thank you so much, Olatijo. It's such a great pleasure to be here. Um, to be honest, uh, when you called me, I had already said whenever you're ready. So it's really a great pleasure to be here, and I'm hoping that um, a lot of small businesses will take opportunity. You remember when we were having the conversation as to your 100th edition, and I said that this is something that every single person, has to listen to, because these are nuggets that are given to a lot of people for free. That other people are actually paying serious money for. So it's really a great pleasure to be here, and I'm hoping that a lot of people get value from what it is that we've shared today. Thank you so much for having me. And congratulations again on the first anniversary of Business Mumu. And I am sure that we're going to do many, 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 many more years.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure having you around today. Yeah. You fit fly, you are fit to fly. Elevate, let's fly, and let's make Africa very interesting. That's the goal because truly, the SMEs that are not paid attention to are the guys employing. They are the ones really employing. Uh, there are just many thousands of employee for those big institutions, but there are thousands all over the world. But there are a lot of hundreds of employee for the 1,000,001, SME. So when you bring them out, you realize that the big institutions are just having the names, and some guys are doing the job. As a matter of fact, they still serve as vendors, to the big name guys. So they still do the job. So we need to pay attention to them. And um, the essence of today's of celebrating the anniversary this way is that we want you to have the poise of the big guys even while you are still small, because it's like I said, you can't learn flying when you're already in the air. You can't learn swimming when you're already in the Pacific. It's something that should start now, and it's very difficult to start when you don't even have airports, we don't have a swimming pool. It's very difficult to imagine that you're going to be big and you start behaving big. Very, very difficult. Society has taught people to fake being big and because they fake it being big, they can't be big forever because time will tell, definitely. It will waste off. Which day was that? I was just checking. I've been sharing some wisdom from the things I learned from my late father. And I was just checking, and I saw that my one of my shoe brushes, like shoe brush, black shoe brush, was actually bought by my dad. He's been dead now over 19 years now, and I saw his name. He wrote it. He likes writing like that. I was not imagining if he had bought this before he, since when till when. Me anyway, I think I learned that I don't throw things away. Uh, why is that thing still with me? Because I don't throw things away, but because it's original. So the fake will not be able to withstand the test of time. So why do you want to go into business? Why do you want to be that SME guy? If it's for the fake reason, hey, you're not going to last. If it's you bully your neighbor that, hey, I'm a CEO, you're not going to last, because I'm going to speak to that, uh, people, some smart people, why some people are oppressing their, friends with some beautiful cars, luxury and all of it like that. Some other set of people, they are oppressing their mates with, I am the founder and CEO of, you know, they've got no real substance for what they are doing, but they just have that cliche that, yes, I am the founder and CEO. So they want you to feel like you are still employed by somebody or you don't even have direction for your life. They are, the owner of a company or whatever it is like that. Time will just tell. Time will tell. So we are here for the real guys. I mean it. We are here for the real guys. So let the real guys step up and then seriously, you will see only the original ones like us will last. You know, come back and check. It was last year. A friend of mine was like, "Hey, I've known you doing this for over 10 years now," and I looked at myself. Oh, really? I never knew that. It's been like that, and it's still going to be like that for a very long time. I don't have any other thing doing than helping people to do what they are supposed to do. So it's a lot. It's a lot, and um, we are going to enjoy ourselves here. People are appreciating your smile. Have you seen that? I've had it there since. Uh, Unicorn, I said people are appreciating your smile. You do not see it there.
I saw it. Thank you so much, everyone. I saw one of Margaret's comment. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I saw Kayo. I'm sure that's the name I'm seeing. So
Yeah,
much. I like even when I'm going through pain, I'm there smiling like
very important. No, we have two options. Either you smile or you smell. So,
this. Please,
so smiling is better.
yeah, smiling is better, please. So thank you guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody's comments. Thank you so much.
Okay. I'm actually waiting for our next, speaker to step on. Um,
Okay. I'm
yeah.
also saying
So,
James Odunayo. Odunayo's comment says the best technology is humans. If you don't
yeah.
have humans, you miss out on so many things as
He
regards
was
building
he helped me
that.
to type what I said. Yeah, yeah. That's it. I think there's this techie pride now. People feel like, hey, we just write programs for it. We just build, an application for it. We just don't worry. We don't need humans. We don't.
You know, talking of friends, a lot of a lot of people have this belief that in the next 10 years, you know. all our works will be redundant. In the next 15, all our job roles will be this, will be that. The truth of the matter is this: whether or not um, we like it, even with the tools, with the um, what you call all the products and things that are coming up these days, they still need people to actually make them work.
Of course.
So, so it's either you are trying to upskill to help you, in the phase that you're in, is what is supposed to be. So I wouldn't say people's roles will be redundant. It's just that people's roles will be, let me use the word elevated. People's roles will be elevated to something different. So take for instance, there used to be a time during my mother's time, they were called typewriters and receptionists. Now you don't hear typewriters and receptionists. What you're hearing is front desk executives, front desk managers. So you still it's still people that are managing those things, right? So true.
The fear is that people have always been very lazy and irresponsible. They want to shift what they are supposed to do to someone or a machine. So, and that's what detects the laziness of humans. Now, after all, definitely we want to save time. We want more time to be able to do a lot of things. Yet, these guys will not take your brain. No matter the number of simulations that will happen in the future with artificial intelligence to make robots almost like human beings, um, there's that place for human, and that's whatever you're going to design, if it's not going to be human conscious, forget it. It's not going to make sense. And that we have a lot of bullies today who are at the end of affairs because they have been grown with the mindset that they don't need people, they don't need human because they've got gadgets. Sometimes I feel like our smartphones have replaced people's smartness. Taking away their smartness, and it's a pain. It's a big pain. But all the same, the most sustainable technology is human. The most sustainable technology is human, and we are going to have it. We're going to enjoy it, and then for as many of us who are not afraid uh, of being human, we're going to be here for long, and we're going to make impact because that's the truth. As long as we are not afraid of that, a lot is going to happen for us. Okay. I hope our next speakers are not having issue with the network. I can send them popping and out. Um, okay. Okay. It's me and you, so I'm cool. If you can spare us, let's say, uh, like how many minutes now? I want to ask you a
What did
question.
what did you say?
I
I
want
didn't hear
to
you.
ask you a question. I want to see if you can spare us maybe 2 minutes. I want to ask you a question.
Okay, so I'll just take this question and then I'll have to leave because I have
Yeah,
another
I know,
appointment.
I know, I know. Okay, okay. I wanted to ask a very serious question, but
Okay, no.
I'll make it not very serious. Okay, see, people are saying they wish we can be here all day. Hey, seriously, we wish.
I only okay. Unfortunately, I had to leave as soon as possible,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
hoping to come again.
yeah.
So
I noticed that one of the issues we have had with proper employee branding is this. Um, Owners of companies, SMEs, whatever it is, have not been able to differentiate between their own uh, entity or identity and the message of their company or their brand. So you see a guy who naturally does not like the noise, the shout of the media or whatever it is, unknowingly and unfortunately roughs that off his brand. that's supposed to be, shouting and trumpeting, like himself. If you check his social media handle, is not even posting, is not active there. The same thing is now rubbed off on his company. His company that if he does not shout, he definitely not going to sell. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of mix up. People don't know how to say, okay, this is me and this is my company. How do I differentiate between my identity and that of my company? So it's a lot of, it's very, very, very sensitive and a delicate line that a lot of people cross on loan. I just want to talk about that. Did I ask a question?
Okay. All right. The truth of the matter is, I think, I believe that, when initially when I was talking, what I was saying in my introduction is about the three P's of a successful brand, right? We're talking about product, we're talking about process, and we're talking about people. Now, that part where you're talking about is in the product part, where people just what's the word I want to use? They tend to, so they're the ones that come up with the idea. They're the ones that have seen the problem, and they're the ones that have you know come up with a solution, right? But the truth of the matter is, if you're not careful, there's that tendency to mix your personal brand and your business brand together and think that they work hand in hand. They can work hand in hand, but it's usually better to differentiate it, right? Now, in terms of business branding, it's a whole different ballgame entirely. It's not as easy as doing a employee branding. I mean, I said employee brand, personal brand, but we are an extension to our businesses. Do you understand? Now, where you now take that part of your business and your personal life separate, that's why you see a lot of them, you know, they can't differentiate in terms of their finances as well. They can't differentiate that this is for business, this is for personal. So everything is all jumbled together and everything is just, they're not, they're not, they're not making that analysis. And that's where people come in. But now the problem that a lot of people actually face is that they've built their business brand first. Then they're now trying to think about doing their personal brand and it clashes. Now, if your character is just like what that man's character, what you just explained, there's no way it's not going to spill into, except he takes a step back and says that, okay, I have this set of people to help me. I mentioned before that trust your employees to do trust them to take on the role that you've employed them. You don't need to, so you've employed me to come and do your HR, but then you are the one doing the HR, and then you're not coming to tell me that, oh, this is what I think, this is how it's supposed to be. But I'm the HR person. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm only going to be there to guide you and tell you that as a HR, this is what you're supposed to be doing. Now, you are the owner of the business, quite all right. You get the final say. But if you really want to grow your business in such a way that it's not just an SME or what we call small business or what we call one-man business, you have to be able to detach yourself away from your business brand. If possible, if you can afford it, give it to somebody else to manage for you. If not, it's good. No matter how you want to fight it, a part of yourself will seep into your what we call your business brand. I don't know if that answers that question for you, because at least
Yeah,
that's the thing. And that's how I believe that, coming from my own HR perspective, that's how I'm not a brand person, right? So I don't know. I know that they're both separate. They can be intertwined, but I know that they're separately done. But I know from experience, from just being perceptive, I can tell that there's no how you're trying to grow your personal brand that it won't seep into your business brand. There's no way you're doing your business brand that it won't seep into your personal brand. So they work interchangeably. The only difference is when you have the right people can take your business brand to a level that is separate from that of um, your personal brand. So I'm seeing here that there's just a quick question, please, from Abdullah Abdul Karim.
Okay, would you like to attend to it?
Recently, that most people build personal brand first, and at the end of the day, push that same target to their business. What can you say about that? Trust me, that's a fantastic thing to do. That's what I'm doing. Because the reason why is because if you were with me at July from the beginning, I'm sure you'd have heard, but if you didn't, I'm going to repeat myself again. When I said that people trust people, right? So I'll use myself as an example. Like I said before, I like to be very practical. So when I started my business initially, it was to solve a problem, right? So to be able to solve that problem, right? The truth of the matter was I knew that nobody knew me, right? The people that who knew me would probably be people who I've just interacted with, those who I've worked with. But if I wanted to grow my business, I had to take out time for people to trust me as a person, right? And so I began to share the things that I could do as a professional. And that was how my personal brand started. Now, while that was happening, in between, I was talking about my business. I was, so when people reach out to me, oh, can you do this? Well, I'll tell you, oh, yes, we can do this. Can you hear what I'm saying? We can do this, meaning my business can do this. It's not about me. It's about my business. So now I've gotten to the stage where if you're talking about Adironke Salami, you also would remember Unicorn HR. If you don't remember anything, you shall remember Unicorn HR. And, so that's that. So for me, it doesn't mean you can't build both of them at the same time. But personally, I prefer to build my personal brand because I wanted to establish trust with people. I wanted to be able to establish the fact that I can offer solutions to people and it's effective before even bringing my brand sense. So along the way, my business brand, was being introduced, regularly. Regularly. I remember one time somebody said, okay, I know you, but which one is Unicorn HR? What is Unicorn HR? I now had to explain that, okay, Unicorn HR is my business. And I'm sure till now, not everybody, would even know that, my business is Unicorn HR. But you would hear me whenever I talk. I say things like, hello, unicorns, have a wonderful day, unicorns. I'm always putting that slogan at the end. So whenever you want to associate with me, you remember that I'm going to refer to you as a unicorn. So I hope that answers your question, Abdullah.
Yeah. I would not like you to answer his question too much now. Let him join the business MuMu group for more robust feedback. But seriously, it becomes very much of a concern when you have uh, double personality. That's why you're unable to easily, bring whatever. You are not your product, you are not your service, but you should be the value that is expected from your product and services, no matter how they are. You are not the car you are going to manufacture in your factory. You are not the bread that you're going to manufacture in your bakery, but you should be the value of integrity, the value of honesty, the value of good taste, the value of, the value that is expected from your product and service to be you. That's what you are going to market, as a personal brand. And who says that should not be expected from you, for your company or whatever it is. So yeah, I know she will have time for that some other time. But at the moment, please join the business MuMu group, and you have more time for it there. Thank you so much. We heard that for too much, too long a time, and you know, it's only hard I can do that for us. Thank you so much for doing that for us. I want you to go so that you can. It's really. Thank you so much. I'm seeing a lot of people saying hi here. Thank you so much. Okay. Yeah. Take care. You're welcome. Okay. Yeah. I have already in the studio with me Prince David. Yes, that my handsome co-host, that great man himself. It's a pleasure him here, and today is a guest. I'm his host. So he used to be my host, but today is a guest, and I'm so privileged to have him. Uh, sometimes when I look at him, I remember all of those things that we have had as vision for business MuMu, because I think he understands it than I do, and I am privileged like him work together as a team member. So that's something you should have your product so understandable that people that are not you can make some impact with it, even on your behalf and with you. It's a privilege to have him here. Thank you so much. Unicorn, everybody is saying hi to you. Everybody is happy that you came around today. Yeah, there's another big guy in the house. I respect him so much. It's a big man, and recently I've been calling his PA to let me call him. Sometimes they say this number you have died is not reachable. Please try again later. Yeah, you're welcome, sir. How you doing today? Whoop, 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 whoop. Your audio is not here yet. Okay.
Yep, I think it's here now.
Yeah.
Am I
You know
audible
how we
now?
do it. Yeah, you're audible. You know how we do it. It's here now. Okay.
So feels so good to be a guest when I'm supposed to be a co-host. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great
Happy
pleasure.
weekend.
It's a great pleasure. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Um, you know, it's good to have you. Good to have you. Okay, I'm trying to maximize the visibility so that we can enjoy some more. Uh, okay, we are good. Help us allow here. Yes, allow us to see more than your head, at least maybe to your chest level, kind of. Okay, we are good to go today. Yeah, we are good to go today, and it's a pleasure to have you. Speak to us on something that is very important, very important. Before you go ahead, it will be a pleasure to just do a quick forerunning for what you have for us today, and I want people to see this very quickly. Look at it. A team is not a group. Those of you that have read my profile before on LinkedIn, you see, I tell people I know the difference between a team and a group, and I mean it. It's the truth, because I've worked, with so many teams, and I've seen so many groups, assume themselves to be teams. But this is a team. Let me quickly give you a picture. I study mechanical engineering, so when I'm giving a picture of a car, you understand what I mean. A car is an example of a team. A car is an example of a team. A car is an example of a team. You see, the materials that made up the tire is different from the material that made up the seats. It's different from the material that made up the headlamp. It's different from the material that made the windscreen. It's different. A lot of different material came together for you to be able to move from one point to the other. That's how a team can be. And when you misplace any of them, you're going to suffer it. If you say you feel like, hey, I think it's the windscreen that is misbehaving, and you decide to remove it, you will not enjoy the comfort of the chair. You will not even be able to run as fast as you want, even when you have the fastest car in the world. And that's how it is. For you to get result, you need change. Really, you need change, and it's going to be a great pleasure having Prince do great justice to that today for us to be able to enjoy the building of SMEs that will become unicorns for the sake of Africa. Thank you. You're welcome, sir. Please, you can go ahead, sir.
Oh, God bless you, sir. Yeah. Uh, I know that the network is not. Hope that it's a very, very smooth sail. Did it break?
Yeah, we are with you. We can hear you. Please go ahead. We will enjoy
Oh,
uh,
okay, okay,
as much as network meters.
okay. When I was asked to come and talk about building the teams, I found out I found that rather interesting because I think over time I've just fallen in love with working with people. I think of all the people that I know, I think I've volunteered the most. I'm not sure, maybe, but I think I volunteered the most. I think I've worked on the most teams of all the people that I personally know. Um, and haven't been here, been there. Um, it's been so interesting working with different people across different boards on different assignments and talking about things like this. It's not totally new, and I'm pretty sure that whatever Owambe you sacrificed to be here um, would have been worth it after all. Yeah, that's if you were going to go for an Owambe anyway. Mr. Latunji just said that one of the perfect examples of a team is a car, and what I mean that in rather bigger depth. There are things that make things a team, and there are things that disqualify a group of people from being called a team. And we look into one of those things, particularly because of the biggest businesses, the strongest businesses, the most successful businesses since the inception of business have been built by teams. No one man has successfully run a multi large business. No one man. No unicorn has been born of one man. It's impossible. It's impossible. Everything works, because teams come together to make it possible. And trying to be a total waste of time. But one very familiar word that we can easily liken to a team is the word family. When you think of teams, and when I think of teams, I think the closest word for that or to that, that's to me is family. Family because there are things that bring a family together, bloodline, a common name. Friends for today, and uh, it makes a lot.
The network is not connecting well at his end.
Of sense to look into how they operate,
Okay.
by what.
Okay. I hope we get him back into the studio to join us. The network is pretty um, unfriendly at his end, and okay, I think he's back now. Okay, you're
Did it
welcome
go
back.
off?
Yes, we didn't see you. The
Oh
network
my.
pulled you out. So sorry about that.
Saying, okay, is it smooth now?
Yeah, better, better.
I think it's just. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So, examining everything a team is. Usually, in a team, in a typical team, there is a captain or a team lead, and then there are the members of the team. It's typical. In an army, there is the commander, and then there are the compatriots, the guys who are just part of the battalion. In a football team, there is the captain, and then there is every other person on the team, the members of the team, the guys who put one and two together to make that effort a collective. And you begin to, in a team, nobody's more important. The leader is not more important than the follower, and neither is the follower more important than the leader. Or the team lead is not more important than his members, neither are the members more important than the team lead. It will take a synchronization of everything they know and everything they represent to make whatever common goal, whatever common ground it is that they came together in the first place, that brought them together in the first place, be a success. For example, in a typical military, um, there are, let me use something like the American Navy SEALs. There are about five different small team. The Navy SEAL teams are very small, about 12 people. And in these 12 people, there usually is a pilot, there will be a medic, there will be reconnaissance person, there will be the sniper, there will be the shooter. Everything is broken down into different segregate because people have different strengths and the idea behind teams is that when we synchronize our weaknesses disappear and the only thing that shows our collective strength. So if I'm a better planner and he's a better executor, when I make the planning or when I bring the ideas to the board, it is his job to drive us in the path of the execution. It's just synchronization of different strengths, different talents, and these are the things that make teams work. When you think of an army, they get some of the most difficult, some of the most unthinkable jobs done simply because they understand what it takes to synchronize. There are many things that are building blocks of teams, and maybe we'll run through that very quickly. It will help us to structure our minds properly and help us to easily build teams. There's something called the Mastermind Alliance, and it was first proposed by Napoleon Hill, the guy who wrote Think and Grow Rich, right? Yeah, I think so. A couple of other people. But the idea behind the Mastermind Alliance is when we are heading towards a common goal, I want to build a team to take us to the fulfillment of that goal. We can't afford to be flimsy about how we build a team. We build a team so carefully that at the end of 30 members of the team, after 30 people have joined, we still have the same efficacy we have if it was just one man driving the team. You know, same drive, same direction. Everybody has the same mind, except that, of course, people will differ when it comes to one or two other things. But at the center of their core thinking, when it comes to the common ground on which that team stands, um, everybody must align. Alignment is the base. Everybody. It doesn't matter where you're from, what language you speak, what food you eat, the schools you attended, the natural inclination you have. For example, I've had friends, I'm talking of team members too, who we totally differ politically. And, when we come together to work, we work almost as though there is no difference between us, simply because um, my political inclination has nothing at all to do with the common goal that we came together to achieve. Take, for example, Business MuMu is a team, and I'm a member of this team. Mr. Olatunji is the leader of this team. It doesn't make him more important or me less important. I have some things I can bring to the table, and he has a lot too that he can bring to the table. A synchronization of these things make my weaknesses to disappear. His inefficacies too will naturally diminish, and then we can, synchronize and perform at crazy levels. I've seen high performing teams, crazy guys. Okay, let me give you an example. Maybe it will help us um, see this clearly. I'm sure many of us have watched Olympic Olympic choreographies where we have, or let's say, America's Got Talent choreographies, where we have like 20 members of a team, and they came to dance, they came to perform some, you know, pattern, some dance. They usually come, and in the team, everybody's uh, level of mastery when it comes to dance is different. We have the master dancer, we have the guys who are not very good, we have the guys whose strength is breakdancing, the guys whose strength is ballet, we have the guys who are salsa lords, different kinds of dances, different kinds of fit, some tall, some short, and then when they come together to do their choreography, most times it looks as though they are perfect. I mean, I've seen dances where it looks as though every single person on the team is doing exactly the same thing. And sometimes I've had to pause the video, go back and slow it down. And you'll see that in the entire team of 20 people, only three are doing the same thing. The other 17 are doing something almost near, that perfect pattern. But because it's a team, look, your vision when you're looking at them gets blurred out. The things they are doing separately becomes of almost non-significance. And the only thing you begin to see, quite honestly, is that pattern that they are all trying to paint, the pattern that they are generally trying to follow. You lose touch with, or you lose touch of that vast difference in what they're doing, except when the difference is really clear. That brings us back to what I said earlier, that alignment is the key. We're not perfectly on the same page, but we have exactly the same mission, the same call to action behind everything we do on that team. We know that Business MuMu, for example, was launched for a specific purpose. Every member of this team, both present and future, are going to be introduced to that purpose. And if you cannot flow with that purpose, you will not be able to balance with, the intricacies of what we do here. And that would entail that if I go for a meeting on behalf of the team, the same thing every other person who is a member of the team, including the team leader, would have said is almost exactly the same thing I would say. Now, it'll be hard to find a difference because we are so synchronized and the purpose for which we are on this board is perfectly aligned. We know this is the vision. This is what we want to do. For example, let me give you an example of one time I fell out with my comrades. Back, back, about 3 years ago, we're working on a particular project. It was going to be a conference. It was going to be a very huge conference. And for some reason, I was the one leading the team. That was the day I discovered that it was actually easier to be a member of the team than to be the leader of the team. It's easier to be a follower than to be a leader. It might be counterintuitive, but let me explain. It will make sense now. Um, as a leader, your major purpose is to drive. And when you're driving, most times you're insensitive to many things. Of course, there's something called effective leadership, and then if you want to be an effective leader, you have to be all in all. But just the average leader tells everybody we're going here. You know, if he forgets to ask, okay, the average leader tells everybody we're climbing this tree, right? He forgets to ask if there is a ladder. He forgets to ask if we can get a rope. He forgets to ask if it's possible by some means we get the parachute that can then land us on top of the tree. He forgets to ask all those questions. Leaders are naturally direct. They know where the promised land is, where the end goal is, and they just try their possible best to drive everyone there. Now, on the team, let's say the team is 10 people. We have 10 people from 10 different households, 10 different backgrounds, 10 different mindsets, 10 different everything, 10 different DNAs, 10 different thinking patterns. And someone is thinking, why does Olamide is 150 kg? He's really big. Why does he have to climb manually with every other person when the guy across the street has a ladder and Olamide can utilize this ladder to get to that top since that's the common goal? You know, it becomes really crazy when the suggestion begins to come to the team lead and um, the team lead is not someone who is bendable enough, you know, to follow the general. There's all of that. And he says that there's no need for a ladder. We can just find our way to the top of the. And someone else says, well, I have a friend that has a parachute. If we can find a way to access this parachute, maybe we'll take off from point A. And when we get to the top of this tree, we'll just descend, linearly. And if the team lead is not an effective leader, it becomes very difficult to align all these different interests and different perspectives into one simple strategy. So on my team, then, we're 33 people. 33 people. And I was the youngest person. Talking of really senior people. And I was supposed to lead them to get this conference done. It was pretty interesting because basically I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say to them to get them to cooperate with me. Prior to the time we started to plan for the conference, they didn't really know me. They didn't know what my strengths were, and I didn't know what their strengths were. I could not bank on the strength of anybody because I obviously didn't know, what they could do and what they could not do. But I think when we had tried to plan for like 2 weeks and nothing was working, took a step back, got back to my room that day, sat down, took a paper, took a pen, wrote some things down. Like, this thing is not working. What the heck are we doing working together? Why not just dispatch the team, create another team with fresh blood, fresh people, it hit me that if I dispatched the team and created a new team with fresh blood, fresh people, it will still be exactly almost the same thing because I'll be bringing on that set of strangers to come and work on the same project that they are not familiar with, and they will still come with the different perspectives, their different ideologies. And then we had a meeting one day, and I took a paper, I passed it around, and I said, "We want to do A. Everybody write what you think is the best way to get to that point A." And I passed it around, came back to me, I kept it. I said, "So after task A, we're going to do task B." Everybody, and I passed it around again. Now, mind you, I already had in my mind what I wanted to do or what I thought was most appropriate, to deliver that result for us. But then I just wanted to have a clue of what was in their mind. And I did it for A, I did it for B, I did it for C. Three different things. And when I collated it, we just had the meeting. I went back home. I got home, I took the papers, and I began to read through. And I discovered that I was looking at the problem in a totally wrong way. I mean, totally wrong way. The way I was looking at the problem was, number one, too expensive. Two, too many moving parts. Three, it was doomed to fail if we did it my way. And then maybe because they were older, or maybe because some of them had some experience somewhere before they met me, it just brought all the flavor together and we made a perfect soup. And first time in my life, it just dawned on me that a leader is nothing more than the singular reflector of the diversities in the diversities in the team. Singular reflector. So after that point, my approach to doing anything team, working on teams, um, became first to understand the people on the team, to understand what their strengths were, their weaknesses were, to understand what their interests were. Some people were more logical than some were more creative than some were pretty emotional, others were, people had different different tactics. Some people were masters at publicity because they were extroverts, number one, and number two, they had some skill that I didn't have. Some were masters of strategy because probably they were extrovert or introvert, it doesn't really matter, but they are collected critical thinkers, those kind of guys. And the different flavors is the one characteristic that every team on earth has. It doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're a pastor, whether you are a military man, whether you're a doctor that has a bunch of nurses. When you see the choreography in a surgery room, you begin to understand very practically what it means to work on a team and work on a team successfully. You're not just jumping around. Everybody is not trying to get the surgical blade. Everyone is not trying to tune the light. Everyone is not trying to, administer, all of those. Everybody knows exactly what they're supposed to do because of their different strengths, and because they can synchronize these different strengths, they bring it together to form a perfect surgery. So we're supposed to talk about how to build, not necessarily the characteristic of the team, but how to build teams that are effective, teams that work, teams that get results. That's the base of what we're supposed to be discussing. And we'll talk about a bunch of things, but I want to stress those building blocks very well, because then the entire process will be nothing if we lose track of these building blocks. They are the most core, the most important building blocks that any team can be made up of. The first building block I've mentioned already is a common ground. It's a common ground. When you research about the Mastermind Alliance, how the Mastermind Alliance is built is this. If we want to form a group, a mastermind alliance to achieve, okay, let me say something that is very controversial, to achieve a totally different kind of leadership for Nigeria in 2023. This is how it typically works. Now, I said that because, of course, most of us on the call are Nigerians. And for those who are not Nigerians, well, we are Nigerians, so this would be a very relatable example. I'm Nigerian, everybody's Nigerian. Many of the guys who are on the conference are Nigerians. So let's say Mr. Olatunji is the brain behind this alliance. And I'm one of his long lost friends who we used to know 5 years ago. But then when that idea struck him, the first person that came to his mind was me. Let's assume. And he calls me up and says, "Hey, young man, I think I want to do this, and this, and this. Do you think it's something that you want to be a part of?" Then I say, "Oh, yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Let's work on this." So, Pam, we're already a pair. Remember, we want to build a team to as large as possible. Now, this is a very difficult process, but in narrating this process, it might sound pretty simple, but it's a very, very rigorous, very difficult process. The idea now is to find a third hand, and the principle, or the number one principle of the Mastermind Alliance, is that this third hand will not differ too much in belief from the original existing pair that formed that alliance. So if the third hand is too much like me, that he is not at all like Mr. Olatunji, then he cannot be a part of the team. Unfortunately, because when we start to work, he will start to take sides, and that is against one of the most fundamental building blocks that I will discuss here. You cannot afford to be drawn to X or Y side. You are a member of this team, and the only thing that you care about on that team is the view that supports that building block or that common ground on which the team was founded. We are supposed to form an alliance to get, that change of leadership done, a more superior, more excellent kind of leadership. When we get the third man, we are then going to, three of us now, going to go and get the fourth man. Or if Mr. Olatunji gets the fourth man, he will have to bring the fourth man to the three of us, or the two of us that existed already. Make us three. Then we will have to look at him and say some words to him and smile at him and ask him some questions. And the expectation is, if Mr. Olatunji brought this person, he is supposed to click with us because already he knows the kind of people who are on his team, and he's not ready to bring in someone who will destroy what has already started getting what has already started getting built. So this fourth man has to perfectly fix, like a Lego. Now, remember, Legos are not all the same shape. There are triangles, some are rectangles, some are squares, but somehow they fit, they align. There is one thing in him that is a deficiency in me, or there is something about him that I see and like that makes us to, perfectly fit. And then we keep that process going until we've reached the 10th person. Now, when we've reached the 10th person, it now becomes the duty of some people, maybe out of the 10 of us, we'll take two people out who perfectly understand the common ground on which we all stand and say, guys, we want to take this 10 to 100. Both of you become responsible for looking out and checking if there is anybody anywhere on the planet that can perfectly also fit into what it is we're trying to build. Now, these two people become the recruiters in the corporate, work setting. And when anyone comes and they want to get in through the door, it is the job of these two people to say, oh, well, ask X question, Y question, Z question. And these questions are to test the proof of alignment so that if you are not someone that likes to work from 9 to 5 and our name is First Bank, we cannot employ you because apparently we resume by 7 and we leave by 5. There is the modus operandi, there is the common ground, there is a common vision on which our team stands. If you are not perfectly suited, you are a creative, and you like to work from home, you can afford to be the guy punching in our numbers because our name is First Bank, Or if our name is Maven's Records, and you are um, someone who does not at all like to go to parties, like to go to club, you don't like to listen to music, and our name is Maven's Record, you cannot function on our team. It's absolutely impossible. Now, it is the job of these two people, these designated people, to understand who you are, what your likes are, what your strengths are, your weaknesses, what your inclinations are, and then these two people can then recommend you to the rest of the team and say, we think this guy is the best, this guy is a good fit for whatever it is we're doing, or I'm not sure this guy is exactly who we want on our team. And then we'll say, well, young man, it was nice having you come visit us, but we're not sure. Oh, let's get back to you. A sensitive job to build a team, and in doing this, you don't want to make expensive mistakes. So the number one building block is a common ground, and people who understand this common ground. Number two is that and I'm not talking of trust in the traditional way trust is spoken of. Of course, I got to trust you, got to trust me, but what um the trust that people usually speak of, that people are active trust, the one you have to trust me so I can be on. No, 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 no. Even as a
Wow, wow, wow. I'm enjoying myself here, seriously. You know, building a team, very important. Um, very important. There is no one hand that can, do great stuff. You can do a nice stuff. You can do a good stuff, but if you want to do great stuff, you must do it in the company of people. You must do it in the company of people, and then having a team to do that is very very important. I'm enjoying myself. Okay, it's back now. Yeah, you're welcome back, sir. Please go ahead. Can you hear me now? Wow. I think it's still not connecting. Uh, well, okay. Team building that gets results. Like seriously, seriously. This is very practical way uh, about building a team. Very practical way. Okay, it's back now. Okay, you're welcome back, sir.
Oh, I deeply apologize. I didn't realize I had been cut off. I
You're
don't know
welcome back.
why. Maybe the network or something.
Yeah, the network
God bless yourself.
connectivity is in that. And
Yeah. So I was on the second building block of a team, and rather than standing in the place of sign that says, "Give and you shall be given." Why not give trust? And that second building block will be the gift of vulnerability. There are times you just have to be vulnerable. I'm sure you're not totally sure where these guys are going, but if it sounds remotely close to what you think they're saying, why not just jump on board and see how it goes? Especially when a vision is young, most times it gets really complex. You're not totally sure what they sound very bogus, and the words are very. And you're wondering what are they saying? I've been with guys like that, and they're trying to tell me we want to go to Lagos. Simple. And then they say, well, we're thinking of going to board a flight, but we're not sure if we should take the bus or take the train. What exactly they're trying to say. And it would have just saved them a lot of stress to say, hey, we're going to Lagos. Lagos is where we're going. Simple and short. It would have saved me time, saved them stress. Uh, but the gift of vulnerability, sometimes, many times, you know, the perfect guys don't sound like it. So kind of have to learn how to just jump on board. It doesn't matter.
okay, again, I think we lost this video and audio. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm enjoying myself here. I know you too. You're enjoying yourself. Please do share with other people. Let them be part of this. Let them enjoy themselves too. It's going to be very, very interesting to have more people come into this awareness, come into this knowledge, come into this reality for you know businesses. You need these realities. They are deep secrets that will make a lot of difference for you. The thing is, there are some things you can read, but there are some things that you just have to learn. They are not there for you to read. But when you come in contact with this kind of energy, this kind of truths, this kind of power and grace, you just see that hey, you're able to do it the way you're supposed to do it and get the deserved result. Like I said, you can do a nice thing, you can do a big thing alone, but you cannot do a great thing without a team. You're welcome back, sir. So you can go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So the gift of vulnerability, extremely important. You just have to be vulnerable. There are many things they will do, many things they will say, many things they will think that do not totally align with what you believe. If for those reasons you decide to board the team, then you might have shattered something really big, you know, and you can take lessons from the beginning days of some of the Fortune 500 companies when they were young and everybody was passionate, people unforgivable mistakes. And some other people were very reactive. And 50 years down the line, the team is worth $100 billion and they're nowhere to be found. I don't want to make observation of dignity, but then you know some of these guys, they were there in the early days of Apple. They're not there anymore. Some of these guys were in the early days. People are, susceptible to doing all manner of things. If you focus on the very thing that brought us to, sometimes it will be very difficult to, break off. My goodness, the potential of that team is drastically cut down because of your exit. You left, you abandoned the vision, you could have been everything that brought you guys together in the first place. Then, well, dream goes to drain. Only one person is pushing it, or the other guys, and it doesn't make any sense, right? So sometimes you just have to be vulnerable. But realize this: if it's a business, medium scale, um, it's not going to be small and medium forever. Did you get that? The SME that we're calling small and medium will not be small and medium forever. One day, the SME is going to be a unicorn. If you're playing your game right, it's not going to stay an SME. And you don't want the base of in the next 20 years, you might have 30,000 people on the team. You don't want the top five people on the team to be totally disaligned. It's going to affect the future of the company. Because when the driver of that vehicle passes away, boom, the team is done forever. And there are companies like that too we can take lessons from. You know, a lot of companies like that. A lot. A, a whole, you know, as soon as the founder is gone, everything melts down. Because there was no common ground. They were disaligned at the very base. So every other person on the team, the 30,000 employees, they're not the core part of the team. The core part of the team are the guys we call the board of trustees. And if you go back in time, go to the 80s, okay, there's a book called Barbarians at the Gate. It's a book of a man called, I think, John. strong base, became their CEOs, did a forceful sellout or buyout, whichever way you put it. He was inside, so you can call it sellout, but it was typically called buyout on the corporate, front. And Johnson Ross was the reason why Nabisco and RJR became one body. Nabisco was the mother company that produced the biscuit you guys call Oreos, was a tobacco company. Where on earth? I mean, where in the moral standings of business has a tobacco company ever become one entity? And I'm not talking of a subsidiary, two subsidiaries. I'm not talking of two subsidiaries. I'm talking of one entity with one board and one set of decision company and a snack, whatever you call it. It didn't make sense. And these were the corporate juggernauts, the corporate hooligans, the corporate thugs in the 80s, if you put it that way. They committed atrocities. Because of course, let me try to do a quotation. When the hedge is broken, the serpent will bite. You don't want a business to be built for 15 years and then 15 years later, one of the most core part of your board now says it's selling out. What? I mean, and it'll be very bad when it's selling out to your competitor or I know I'm talking corporate stuff now, but when you're building an SME, I believe that the real way to look at things is the long term way. You're looking at the people on your board, looking at people on your team, looking at people that you are, calling the alignment with the common ground. 10 years, 20 years down the line, 15, 50 years, they're going to do something that would result in a natural death for your company. And remember, one of the things that Business Move was launched to do was to cut short, reduce by every means possible the business. But guess what? Some people with their own hands orchestrate the death of their enterprise or the death of their business by ignoring the very core parts of team building. You don't want to make mistakes, choosing the wrong co-founder. Oh my. It is like marrying the wrong spouse. Yes. Yes. It has been proven to be one of the biggest destroyers of big enterprises in the entire history of capitalism. Choosing the wrong co-founder. Woo! It could end everything. You know, and talk about team building. Another thing I think we should discuss as part of the building blocks for any great team is as a person, you must have in you the conviction that you're going to go the extra mile for the common good of that team. If you're not willing to outdo everybody, then get off the team. Not necessarily in the sense of outdo, but there are places where everybody's hand stops. And you know by every means that after that point, your hand can continue. Please do them the honor, take on the challenge, do whatever it is you can do to get the team to that next point. You don't have to be the leader to take lead. That's one thing you learn in leadership schools. Leadership is not a title, it a is a predisposed way of executing. It is very, very unique execution mentality where you know that in you is resident the ability to drive a certain thing to completion. And when you realize that I can drive something, oh my, you know, I've been on teams where I was the team lead, and honestly speaking, I was not doing anything because everybody, remember what, we're human beings, we're not robots. People have different times and different cycles in their lives. The day the team lead gets hit, uh, there has to be someone on the team that the entire team can trust to keep the entire ball rolling. And please, by every means, be that person. Because if, for example, you're an employee in a company of 50 staff, you know, uh, an employee in the company of 50 staff, and something hits the CEO or something hits one of the integral members of the team, and they need someone to advance a certain course, or in the very corporate language, to look over a certain department, you know, the last thing you want is that that person is not you. Because if over time you've exhibited a certain kind of trait, a very, very convinced understanding that resident in you is the ability to power a move and to push it to the point of completion. You understand this, and you are able to leverage on this and maximize this. You know, when there is need for a replacement, or when there is need for an injection into a very critical position of authority, those are the only guys who get to, ever taste that kind of a thing. They're the only guys. The only guys. Um, but let me bring this back down to SME. Let's assume that we're all building SMEs. As the leader, the unique thing about leadership is that the leader has to set the pace. That's the only thing. The leader has to set the pace. If the cleaner in your office, or if you don't have a cleaner, if the third man on the team is the one setting the pace, good
It's
news.
a leader.
That guy is more of a leader than every other person on the team. You know, and leadership is one very sensitive thing that we have to talk about. I don't want to talk about corporate politics, so we'll leave that. All of what I'm saying now, we'll have to leave it aside. It's not what we're here to discuss. We're here to discuss, integration. That's what we're discussing. Integration. It is what makes their weakness, their efforts, all of those things.
It's sleeping.
A team. I don't know if I'm being heard because it seems as though it's
Yeah,
hanging on
because
my side. I don't know
yeah,
if I can.
it's hanging, but you are now audible,
Okay.
going on and
Okay.
off. Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong, but well, I believe best. Yes. So yeah, the ability to go the extra mile, because one of the things that kills teams, the team lead is looking forward, or is looking up. I can't call it up now. Is looking members are also looking up to the team lead to be the one to drive that agenda, and then they get into an unknown looking competition where the team leader is dropping all of his expectation on the team members. The team members are dropping all of the expectation on the team leader, and then at the end of the day, they end up in a paralysis situation where they nothing, team members do nothing, and the idea behind we coming together in the first place is something we're trying to kick out, trying to execute, to something we're trying to achieve, to something that brought us together. I mean, why do we call ourselves a team if there is nothing that brought us together? Even if it's a marriage, you guys want to get married, build an amazing life together, build a legacy together, maybe give birth to children together. Something that looks like chaos. But in the long run, what we would have achieved is a hyper productive team because everybody has ideas, everybody has initiatives, everybody kind of gets a hang of what it is we're doing. You know, everybody is on this together. That there's a certain level of push, no matter how small, that's coming from every side. If there are docile members of the team and you are the team leader, I bet you want to get them to become active because one day something is going to hit you. It could be the health of a family member. You could go down health wise. Something could hit you, and you would need comrades who have the ability, intricate ability to get the ball rolling. You know, um, these are things that everybody has to somehow consider when they are building a team. You don't want to build a team. Am I still being heard?
Yeah, you are very audible, sir.
Okay, sir. You don't want to be you don't want to build a team where you're the major actor. Okay, you can be the major actor. You don't want to build a team where you are the only actor and then you just dish out orders and it is their job to blindly follow the others. Number one, it is proof that they lack initiative, and it is proof that you yourself you have a problem, because one of the reasons why people within a team cannot take on certain kinds of tasks is because number one, they've not been delegated the task. Number two, um, the leader is micromanaging. That is the fastest way to kill any team. I'm telling you, it's the fastest way. Number one, you're not letting them use their brain. You can't afford to micromanage a team that you hope will be hyper productive. For example, most teams when they start, especially in the business environment, in the first 1 2 years, most teams do not really drive things at that level of productivity. It is true that in contemporary leadership trainings, they'll tell you that from the get go, everybody has to be crazy. It doesn't necessarily work that way. It takes time for people to synchronize. So give that time too when you're building a team. And that time is usually in the business world, 1 2 years. Everybody has perfectly synchronized by the second year. It doesn't matter where they're from. I mean, even if they speak Chinese and I speak English, we have perfectly synchronized. And then we have a Russian and a Ukrainian on the team. By 2 years, they're perfectly synchronized. There's no more contention about that. The only thing now is for us to slowly wind up the productivity level of the team. Slowly, steadily, slowly, steadily, slowly. We wind up the productivity of the team by delegating really hard tasks to every single person on the team. Every single person must have a taste of doing the impossible. Now, from the team lead to the last guy on the team, everybody must have a taste of doing something that is just kind of outside their comfort zone, so that in the day when someone is needed to rise up to any occasion, they don't need to now start to selectively, send people to do that thing. There is already a base understanding, a base knowledge that everybody on this team is a superstar. Send anybody, they'll get the job done. That's the kind of team you want to be part of. That is the only kind of team you want to dream of being part of. You don't want to be you don't want to be part of the team where um, there is just 20% or 10% of the people who can act. It will be a catastrophe. Of course, on every team, we have the more active guys and the more docile guys. And you will observe that the more active guys are executors. The more docile guys, most times, are strategists. So you have to still expend them in that which they are extremely good at, which is strategy. They know how to think, they know how to calculate, they know how to plan, they know how to look into the future. These guys are smart because maybe because they're reserved, maybe because they look at things twice, maybe because they're not fast at giving answers, maybe because they don't talk at conference, they don't talk at meetings. These kind of guys are very dangerous. In the meeting, they're the most quiet. When you ask a question, they don't answer. You have to force them to answer for them to answer. With time, you begin to look at them as, why is this guy not active? But if your sight is streamlined enough, you might just be able to see that this guy calculates things 3 times before he gives an answer. And those kind of guys are the kind of guys you want on your strategy team. They will look at stuff the first time, look at it the second time, then the third time, then say, okay, guys, this is what I think. You know, those kind of guys are golden. But it still doesn't matter. The guys that just jump out without processing much are also extremely necessary, because in business, there is the upward slope and the downward slope. And then if you're waiting for people who are going to calculate, there are times when all the odds are stacked against you and your team. The guys who act without thinking much are the only guys that can get the team forward in those times. Let's assume you are a tech startup. There is no funding, you don't have an office, you don't have this, you don't have that. The odds are stacked up against you guys. The most instrumental guys in that season of the business are the guys who can act without thinking much. Because fact is, anybody who can think and can analyze, that analyzes your situation, will come to the conclusion that there is no way forward. And the only way you can go forward is to get those guys who don't really care. You know, um, I was doing a research. I'm sorry to bring this in. I deeply apologize, but I was doing a research and I realized that Mr. Putin of Russia had a health condition, and this health condition was discovered in him when he was still just almost getting out of his teenage years, when he was, you know, preparing to join the KGB in his young days. And the health condition entails that he has zero sensitivity to danger. I don't know if you heard that. I hope you did. But he actually has, as a health condition, zero sensitivity to data. Now, that's very bad for a soldier, but it's also very good. It's bad for a soldier because when he needs to react fast, he might not react fast because he does not see an inherent danger in what is coming. But it is also very, very good and very, very deadly because the very thing that everybody sees as most threatening to him is a total non-entity. I mean, it does not even regard it. The very thing that everyone is afraid of doing, the man does not give a damn because of his own kind of person. And then in times when nobody's willing to act, that kind of boss is going to do real damage or real breakthrough. Now, depending, you want your team to have a blend of all manner of flavors, people from all manner of schools of thoughts, and bringing this to the very center of your team, the boiling point of your operations, you just might realize one of the very best teams you've ever seen. I think I've spoken for very long. Um, I'm willing to take a break at this point. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. It's a very, very, very insightful moment with you. You have made all the points that are necessary in building a team to be very simple, to look very simple. And seriously, by the way you have tabled them to us, it's now easier for us to build effective teams than just gather people in a group and think we have a team. And yeah, the thing now is, I've been able to see clearly once more that it's a pot of soup, when we want to have a team. The pepper, would injure you when you put it inside your eyes. And the tomatoes will not harm you when you put it inside your eyes. But you have to put these two guys together in a pot for you to be able to have a single taste, of something nice, something great, and all of it like that. Yeah, it is really. It is really. And the idea now is this: while you are, preparing the soup, you are preparing the soup. Don't make the soup like it's just going to be for a dish, you know. Uh, don't make the soup less, as if you are the only one that will eat it. What if someone else joins you on the food? What will be their feedback about the soup? What if the soup lasts more than just one dish? Will it be able to stand the test of time? Will it not get spoiled? All of these things put together, you begin to cook the soup that would serve and people with quality and essence. I think I'm just talking to the mind of the SMEs now, that hey, don't worry, let us just, because it's a small soup does not mean you should cook it with sun. You need fire still. The same fire that is needed to cook the big soup is needed to cook the small soup. The same methodology, the same thing that the big guys are using, you also need to do, with your small stuff. And it's a lot. And I think if I begin to talk about fire now, you understand that the water and the oil will stay apart until fire is introduced. There are a lot of people that you find on your team, they won't make sense individually. But when you're able to bring them together, in the words of our facilitator he was talking about, that synchronization, hiding everybody's weakness, and giving everybody strength, that is inherent. You just say that, okay, I'm strong, but you came to training weak, but because all of you are able to play to your strength, you just realize that we are strong, and that's it. So you will not be able to eat rice or eba. This is Africa, so you need to understand that. So you'll not be able to eat rice or eba with water in a plate, or uh, with pepper in a plate. But when they come together, serious dressing as soup, you know. Yeah, really interesting time we have had today. And thank you so much. It's been a pleasure have you around all the while. It's been very great, interesting time with you. But okay, I think we lost that a moment. Yeah, back now. So yeah, it's been really interesting time here. For those of us who have questions to ask, go join our attention for whatever questions you have. So uh, I know some of us will not be able to copy, but it's on the comment section. And right now, I think we are just live at the moment on YouTube. So please just run there, enjoy yourself, and get the best out of this. Subsequent time, we're going to be able to have you enjoy us on other platform. We had a mix up with the timing on LinkedIn that would have also captured us simultaneously. But we are good here, and then it's interesting. Is something we can always go back to. So building a team is very important. It's very delicate part of building anything great. Miss it, like we're able to establish, while we are on the session, previous speaker, that the most sustainable technology is human. So if you feel like, hey, you've got the structure, you've got the building, whatever it is that you think you have gotten, if you have not gotten, uh, you know, the team, just forget it. You have gotten nothing. You have gotten nothing. So the team actually uh, makes everything work. Together, everybody achieves more, and the team brings the meat. It's more than just coming together. It's the team that brings the meat, and that's why you won't see lions, working alone. They work in their pride, because it's in their pride that they're able to. That's a team that brings to me. It's very important that we pay attention to those very intricate stuff. Thank you so much, Prince David. It's been a pleasure having you around. I know time is not sufficient to really dig deep into this reality of team building. It's what we have been doing. We don't just talk about it. We exhibit it. We don't break ranks. And we you have to be able to see people, and that's one thing with team building. You have to be able to see people beyond what you can see. You have to be able to see people beyond what you can see, and that way you're able to access so much value from people that you are working with, or people that you even work with, and that's it. So um, a proper team recruitment is something that started years before the first time you talk to somebody and say, hey, let's do something together. You naturally will not have somebody to do something with if you have not been on the recruitment process, you know, many weeks before, many years before. It depends on the magnanimity of whatever you want to do. There are some people, it's just going to be a simple billboard, simple advert. Hey, I need somebody, and you get them on board. But there are some people you don't even need to do billboard and adverts to attract, but you definitely must have known them over years. You definitely must have, been in several teams with them over years. It's okay. I think I know this guy now. We can do some things together now, and all of it like that. It's really a great pleasure having you here today, Prince. The network is doing some funny thing. I think okay. I think you are back now. Okay. Okay. You're welcome back, sir. So I don't know. While we wait for the next speaker to join us, it's going to be interesting to hear you give us your parting words, and we move.
Oh, maybe the most effective way that I'll do that is to probably do a recap. And I have it written, so it's very easy. Remember, when you think of a team, think of a family or think of an army, different moving parts, everybody working together for a common purpose. Then, whether you are the team lead or you are just a member of the team, you are both building team. The members are building, the team lead is building. It doesn't matter on which side you lie. You're both active builders. Be humble enough and be likable, whatever the word is, um, to ensure that you don't get on the nerves of every other person. Make the building process a hitless process. Then the building blocks I mentioned, the number one, the most important, is the common ground on which the team stands. Number two is that you have to be willing to be vulnerable. You cannot be trusted if you cannot trust. That's the baseline. And the
Yeah.
third, which will be the last, is you must be willing to go the extra mile for the common good of the team. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Trust first. If you want to be trusted, everybody wants to earn trust, and they don't want to pay trust. That's a bad way of playing the game. It's going to be good. We meet at that junction when you are bringing the trust and I'm bringing the trust, than to now wait home and expect somebody to bring it home. It's easier that way. It's going to make a lot of sense when we have a community of people who have trust. In their not just their capabilities, and also in their incapabilities. That okay, if this guy, it's a miracle of a team that you are surprised that hey, this guy can do this thing because you have known him to be able to do this and all this. So Day is able to do this because, let's say, probably because of his ability to want to step in the gap, for other team members that are lagging behind in that. Be like, hey, you can also, it's just like, oh, you can also take a photograph. You're also a photographer. Yeah, yeah, I am. Wow, really? We have not known you to be that. You understand? It's a miracle. So you should trust them for their inabilities and also abilities. It shouldn't just be that, hey, if he cannot, I've known him not to be able to do this, and so he cannot do it. So a lot of time we have that mistake, and we are unable to accommodate people in their growth stage, because I can't do it today does not mean I will not be able to do it tomorrow. So when I come up and I say, hey, I can do it now, yes, I'm still a member of this team, even though I did not enter into the team with all of these capabilities. Allow me to grow, and then we're able to do so much. And that's it. It makes a lot of sense, when we grow together. Thank you so much. It's a big pleasure having you around today. Yeah, you know, we have had a lot of praise and uh, recommendation, commendation, whatever it is, from people across the world, with what we are doing with Business MuMu. And yeah, I feel like it's a good one for a first year. Although we started a long time before we started, and we are going to be here a long time, even uh, after we have gone. It's going to be a legacy that people will say, hey, yeah, thank God for Business Mumu. They helped us to reduce business mortality rate in Africa. And we're not just looking at reducing it. We want to be able to even eliminate it. Yeah, it can come to that time that we are sure that if any business we commit suicide, then it will be that the business is committing suicide. We have the atmosphere that makes sure that businesses don't just die for whatever reason. So it's a lot. It's a lot, and these are like vaccines, for businesses. Don't wait until you are infected. Prevent yourself from the virus invasion, and you're able to stand the test of time, and you make a lot of sense. You know why? You need to make a lot of sense because imagine the businesses that are hinged on our connectivity never started. Will not be here today. So that's how you have to see your business. Your business, like I've said before, business is a bus that is assigned to carry goodness from one point to the other. So you are a licensed driver of a bus, that's expected to carry goodness from a point to the other when you have a business. So don't take it lightly. There are some people waiting for the goods and services that you are carrying right now, and don't delay them. Don't make them feel bad about the fact that they have waited for you, and you are feeling bossy that, hey, I've got the key to the car or the bus that is bringing the benefit. So yeah, I want to appreciate you again, Prince. It's a great pleasure, I must say. Working together with you all the while. I really really appreciate your uh, your person. It's a lot, and yeah, having a great team. It's not child's play, having a great team is not child's play. And yeah, you can say that I've got a very great team in the person of Prince. So before we start family meeting right here, I would uh, like to invite the next speaker upstage, and we can have some nice time together some other time. Dimeji, how you doing? Dimeji, are you there? Are you there? Your audio is on in, yeah? Are you there, sir? Dimeji, are you there? Please let me hear you speak up, please. Whoa. I think he's not there. The network is really not interesting at his end. He's been trying to join us all the while. Yep. We have not been able to get him all here. Okay, while he tries to join us, and we have he was supposed to have a session yesterday, but the network did not permit him to do that. I hope we have a better time with him today. But while he's here to join us, I will just talk on a summary note. from all that we have had today. Um, okay, I think he's here now.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. You're
Can
welcome.
you hear
How
me?
are you doing? Yeah, we can hear you now.
Can I go ahead?
Hello.
Hello, can I go ahead?
Yes, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you
You're
very much
welcome.
for the wonderful opportunity. So quickly, I'll just be into what I have to say. So firstly, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Dada Samuel industrial design, technology, and
We
product
are, we are
data.
not hearing you
So
very well.
I said I'm a 300 level student of FUTA, Student of Technology Agri, from the Industrial Design Department. Hey, hello.
Yeah, we got that. I think it's your background that is interrupting. So you can just let your voice be more audible than your background.
Okay, okay. So briefly, what I want to speak on is um product branding, the fourth industrial revolution. So um, quickly, we just be going to I'll be defining few things. I'll be defining key terms which are product, then branding, what branding is, and what product branding means. So, what is it? A product you can end the design to solve a problem, and at the end of everything, generate an outcome. So, product has to do two things. If a product solves a problem and does not generate an income, you can't necessarily say it's a product. A product has to solve a problem, and then at the end of the day, generate income for the manufacturer.
The network is really, really not doing well at that end. Uh, we aren't getting you at all. Not hearing you. Okay. Yeah, is currently not having the best of network from his end to be able to join us here today, right now. Like I was about doing before, he got in. I'm just going to be doing a recap, of what we have had so far. Uh, just a little recap. Yeah, from yesterday, we were able to talk about the qualities of a great 21st century salesman, and the relationship stood out as something very, very important. You must be emotionally intelligent enough to build good relationship, understanding your own, strength and weaknesses, understanding the strength and weaknesses of your target audience, and knowing how to use relationship to be able to leverage and still get your product, ahead. Because somebody does not buy from you does not mean they don't like you. It's just your product that they don't like, or how you have presented the product, maybe, and you have to take it as a feedback. Don't feel bad about it. Very important. That's very key, from what we got yesterday. And then today, again, we got so much loads of value already. And one thing that stood out, from the employee branding that makes your business grow is, you have to be able to understand that your business needs a face. Your business needs people, and you can't force everybody, to do that for you. Even members of your employee, it's not a compulsory thing. You have to choose people who are naturally going to be able to do stuff, for the company, without you can there can be perks and all of it like that. However, but at least naturally, they are doing it. But remember, uh, if they don't see you do it, they won't do it. So you have to understand that very importantly, that you have to be the first person to blow the trumpet of your personal brand, your company brand, your organizational brand, before your employee will say, "Oh, let's do this," and you have to make them really feel important, and that's it. And attention is now being paid. The Generation Z, a lot of people, in a lot of employers don't know how to relate to this generation. They don't know how to, get them to be very effective in this generation, and it's very, very, very important that that is taken care of. How to manage this generation of people to be able to get the best out of them. So you have to understand, this time around that, yeah, the lot that you have to put into, uh, consideration when it comes to choosing your employee. Just like Prince David was talking about, choosing your teammates and all of it like that. When you look at it, the process of recruiting has a lot to talk about the future of the company. If you are fond of recruiting, you know, let's say anyhow kind of a person, you will not be able to build a good business. You'll not be able to build great institution when your employment strategy is just to capture any kind of person. You don't care, who comes. You just want to get the job done, and then yeah, you feel like, yeah, let's just get the job done. You pay too much attention on skills, and you don't even care uh, about the value system. You don't care about uh, you know, what they stand for, what they represent as a person, and whatever it is that will make more sense, to the business. You just, hey, you can do this, okay, that's all. Sometimes you need to understand that beyond what they can do is also who they represent, what they stand for the longevity of your company, of your brand, of your business, of your organization. So very important. There are a lot of intricate things that the unicorn came around and she made open to us about the employee branding that makes your business to grow. And yeah, seriously, Prince did a lot of justice to what it takes, the mastermind alliance. You must always test the proof of alignment when it comes to getting a team that will work for you. You must always test the proof of alignment. Hey, are you getting it across? How is it working? Who are the people you want to first pair? Have an aligning, thought, or train of thought, or whatever it is. No matter how complex it is, there must be an alignment first, and let the two now go out. Find the third who aligns with the two. Let the three now go out. Find the fourth who aligns with the three, and like that, you're able to build a very sustainable mastermind. You know, uh, team or whatever it is that you are building very important. The same way we can now bring corporately to even recruitment purposes for employees, from the employers. So it's a lot, really, uh, making things to work in this part of the world, or in any part of the world. You have to pay cognizance to all of this, team building, and then also, how to brand your employees. Your employee should not be a bad billboard. When people see your employee, they should feel encouraged. You must be attractive, very important. You must have, that attractive character. You must have that attractive, representation of yourself through your employee. Very important. And yeah, now to the founders and whatever it is, you must have that, that charming character. That thing that makes you charismatic. It doesn't need you to be a speaker for you to be charismatic. You just have a lovable and likable character that when people see you, they say, "Hey, what's up? I think we like you," and stuff like that. Very important. You need to pay attention to all of those things while you are building something great, while you are building something uh, very, very interesting. So I want to say, interestingly, that we've got some here today. We are expecting some of our speakers to join us. Some people, interestingly, had some level of emergencies that we respect so much, and then we are still here for you. Of course, it may take us another time to be able to have them, but no worries. And for the network connectivity issue we are having with our, you know, business MuMu team lead design. I don't know. Been trying to get in touch with him, but seriously, it's not giving us at the moment. But definitely, I know he's going to be back on board, and then we're going to enjoy ourselves. Absolutely. Okay. I actually prepared to also facilitate a session, but I gave it up already to those that could not make it yesterday so that they will have time to be able to have their presentations today. Yeah, I'm always here. I'm your boy, I'm your guy. I'm always available. You can always have me here. But those people are our invited guests, so they may not have the opportunity to come every time like that. So, and I'm also conscious of the fact that it should not be too good to have this to be too lengthy. Yeah, it shouldn't be good to have this to be too lengthy. So what I'm going to do basically is this. I'm going to be cutting this stream off on the clock uh, next 2 minutes. Then I'm going to be cutting this off so that it will be a sizable chunk, for people to be able to consume after now. And just stay tuned, and then we're definitely going to come up live again. And this time we'll be able to, also have our LinkedIn people join us. It's going to be interesting, but I've got so many feedbacks about how YouTube is killing it and making it really interesting and likable for everybody. So it's good too. Thank you so much. It's been an amazing celebration. Congratulations to everybody. I've got so many, you know, commendation around the world about how business MuMu is helping people to reimagine and see things differently. And I would say that is not possible without you, that you are still here with us, you have been with us, and you're still going to be with us. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, everybody is a team member, of the Business MuMu platform. We just have some people that have to be closer, the mastermind. Yeah, that's it. So that's why we are able to work with anybody, any point in time, for us to be able to achieve the result, the lofty goal of reducing business mortality rate in Africa. It's been an amazing time, really. I would say that if you have been here, if you are just joining, hey, it's not too late. You can go back and enjoy the video from the beginning. And if you know anybody that is not here and they are trying to build something great, hey, tell them that is the best place to be if truly they want to fly. I will end this now, and we can continue uh, later. I'll see what we can do right away, and just stay in tune, right? I'm with you. Yeah. Thank you so much.